Hello, everybody. My name is Charles. You can call me Charwhale if you like, and this is another pickups episode. I got a ton of stuff here, so it's for what is today? Today is June something, June 6th, I believe, maybe 7th, one of the two. I think it's a Thursday, might be Wednesday. I don't know. I lose track of time really easily, but regardless, this is for June and the month previous, of course, May. Over these 2 months, I've accumulated a couple. Well, I mean, accumulated a pretty good amount of stuff, so I'm just gonna hop right into it. I'm not gonna go into huge detail because it seems like the faster explanations are more appreciated by you guys, I want to say. So I'm just gonna try and scoot through them. I'm gonna start with a couple games that I just picked up individually, and then I'll get into a big lot that I got. So the first game here, not a fantastic game in my opinion, The Sims. I just picked it up because my local thrift store had a deal going on where if you bought a certain amount of games, you would get a certain amount off. So, got that one. The next one is Grand Theft Auto Vice City, also for the PC. The Sims over there is also for the PC, so that's nice. I like getting some PC games, even though my computer doesn't have a disc reader anymore. That's fine. The next one is Link's Crossbow Training for the Wii. It's actually pretty fun. It's really it's not at all a Zelda game, but it's moreover just a tutorial for the Wii Zapper. But that's fine. I picked it up for like 50 cents, so I don't mind. And then we get into the really good individual games that I found. The first one at a thrift store is Breath of Fire 4. This game is insane to find at a thrift store because, to me at least, because I really adore this game. I think it's one of the better Breath of Fire games. One of the better games on the PlayStation 1 as well. Again, I'm just going to scoot through these, even though there's a lot of games here that I really like. The next one is a Green Label Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not a huge fan of Green Label PlayStation 1 games. I just think they look like, well, they don't look good. But Final Fantasy VIII, I think, is a sleeper Final Fantasy. It's really solid. I like it a lot. Really good gameplay. I actually got two of them. They were both there. So that's that. Two of those, and then my favorite PlayStation 1 game was at the same thrift store. It is Vagrant Story. This game is fantastic. 10 out of 10. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. Hands down, my favorite PlayStation 1 game. So, I have some more that I have to grab. I have a literal tub of games here. It's a little bit ridiculous. Alright, I got a couple GameCube games. The first of which being Tak 2. I remember playing a Tak game, I think it was for the PlayStation, and I liked it, so I can only believe that it would be solid. It is a Nickelodeon game from back in the day, so it can't be too bad, right? The next one we have is Yu-Gi-Oh! The False Bound Kingdom. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. Unfortunately, these game cards were not inside. I looked. That's what they were. Oh, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they were whatever those three are. I don't know. I never played the game very much. I just liked the way the game was, and the television show. So that's fun. And the final GameCube game I got is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which is a fantastic Pokemon game, actually. One of the better side games, in my opinion. Picked all those up for, well, I picked up the PlayStation 1, the PC, and the Wii games for 50 cents, and I picked up the GameCube games for a total of, I think, $7. And that also came with a GameCube controller. And the next piece was a lot. It was a $40 lot for, there were two original Xbox controllers, the Mad Catz gun for the original Xbox, and the system itself with the AV cables and the power cord. So, and then it also came with all these games, which I'm going to show now. There's a ton of them, so strap in. The first game that I'm going to show is Star Wars Republic Commando. Now this, whoever had this before really liked Star Wars. I'm going to tell you that right now. So be ready for that. The next one is Dance Dance Revolution Ultra Mix. Not really that sad because it's a Konami game. So, I mean, how bad can it be? Can't really be that bad, right? This one is actually interesting. I hadn't played it before, but it looks pretty good. It's called Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf. It looks pretty neat. Also, all of these games are complete in box, of course. The next one is Shell Shock Vietnam 67. Unfortunately, the majority of these have these tags on them, but you know, you come to expect that when you get a lot like this. Next we have Taito Legends, which is fantastic. Taito made some of my favorite games, like Bubble Bobble. I love Bubble Bobble. I'll put this one right over here. Then we have another Brute Force. Brute Force isn't worth a lot of money, but it's a fantastic game. It's a ton of fun to play, in my opinion. Really good game. High quality, ton of fun. Really cheap, too. So if you're looking for a cheap Xbox game to play, Brute Force is definitely up there. The original Spider-Man here. I'm not a huge fan of superhero games, but the Spider-Man games on the original Xbox were okay. The first one is definitely overshadowed by the second one, in my opinion. Next we have Halo Combat Evolved. I mean, everybody who owned an Xbox had this game, let's be honest. It was a fantastic game. One of the best games on the system. Then we have Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I'm showing these games first because they are duplicates, so I have them on top. They're all in a bin, a big old bin stacked right next to me. Next up we have Halo 2 the map pack. Halo 2 is in here too somewhere, so I'll have to find that. It's somewhere in the bin. Then we have a SpongeBob game, which I have for the PlayStation 2, which is pretty funny. I actually have not played it yet, but oh, we have a random 360 game in here as well. It is Viva Pinata. I have never seen a Viva. I think they were a television show. I've never seen their television show, never played their game, anything like that. This one's a little weird. I think it's this one. It says on the case Soldier of Fortune double helix, but then when you open it, yeah, it's this one. It has Star Wars Battlefront 2 game and manual, so I mean, I'm pleased with that. Battlefront 2 is one of the best games on the original Xbox. It's also a pretty expensive game, so I can't be mad about that. Then we have Star Wars The Clone Wars. As I said, promotional offer, of course. Whoever had this really likes Star Wars. It is also Tetris Worlds, of course. I think that's the only way this one came, was a duo. Not entirely sure. Oh, this one doesn't have the manual as well. Forgot to mention that, but the rest of them indeed have their manuals. Up next, we have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. There's a ton of Star Wars games here, which is fine, because for the most part, Star Wars games, I don't want to say they hold their value, but they're more expensive. There's some of the more expensive games on the system, like Battlefront 2, mainly because it's still supported. Then there's Counter-Strike. I don't know if you can see it, but I've never seen this. It says Collector's Edition cover art. I don't know what that means. And then on the side it says Limited Edition number 8276. I have no idea what that means. I'm going to have to look it up, but you know, Counter-Strike on the Xbox is not an expensive game, so I think it's like a couple bucks. It's a lot of fun though. Then we have Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds. I really like the Magic the Gathering games because I'm a huge nerd. I would never play the card game because I don't have that kind of money, but the video games, I'm down. I'm just pulling out stacks at this point. Then we have Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. I remember when this game was advertised. They had a weird advertising campaign. I remember they had a certain song that went with it. I just can't remember the song. But it wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't standout in my opinion. And here we have the Platinum Hits Battlefront, the first Battlefront, of course. As I said, this person really enjoyed their Star Wars, so that's okay with me. I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, but I do like Star Wars at the same time. I can't say anything bad about it. Pulling out the next stack. We got so many more. We're about halfway through. It's called Whiplash. I have never actually seen this. And you can tell that whoever had this isn't from around where I am, because it's EB Games. Up where I am, I used to have a Babbage's around me, and I don't know if all the Babbage's were EB Games at the same time. I don't know if they're like a conjoined company or what, but you know, around me it was Babbage's. We did have an EB Games at one point, but it was mostly Babbage's, and now it's all GameStop. This one is Goblin Commander: Unleash the Horde. I tapped my camera there, unfortunately. My apologies. I have seen this game, never played it, so I'm hoping for something good out of that. Area 51. This one, Halo now. This one is a little weird. A little weird. I will admit that, but never played it. Looks odd, to say the least. Looks a little funky, but that's all right. Then we have a Batman game, Batman Rise of Sin Tzu, I'm going to say. It doesn't look terrible. Usually Batman games, unless you're one specific Batman game that we're not going to talk about, they're pretty good. Especially Microsoft Batman games. Well, Microsoft console Batman games, I should say. Medal of Honor European Assault. I used to really like the Medal of Honor games. Well, I shouldn't say that. I used to play the Medal of Honor games split screen a lot. Because it was a ton of fun to run around with friends and just maul each other, I guess. That sounds terrible. Oh my gosh. Pulling out giant stacks. I'm running out of room on my desk. Next we have Serious Sam. I loved the Serious Sam games. They're so much fun. One of the greatest series. Even though they're a little, they're a little out there with the games, I still think they're a ton of fun, and they still make them. Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. This is another duplicate, but still, I love the Nightmare Before Christmas, so I can't talk smack about this game. I have played it. It's, what can I say? It's a Nightmare Before Christmas game, you know. I'm gonna make some more space on my desk, so apologies for that. Ooh, there we go. Next up we got Conflict Desert Storm. I feel like this is a game that almost everyone who had an original Xbox had, just because it was pretty solid when it first came out, and I think it came out early. Next we have Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I love this game. This game is actually a ton of fun. It's a Rare game, but the developer is Rare, who made, as you can see, Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie. Two fantastic games, but this actually is a very good game. It was on a couple other systems as well, and I think the other systems outshined it, in my opinion. But you know, original Xbox, you can't say anything bad. Raises Hell is what this one's called. Never even heard of it, but you know, it looks a little weird. Looks like there's a Teletubby getting shot right there. That's not very friendly. Really cute, I bet. That's a weird one. And then we have Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. Oh yeah, gotta get that. The first Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, boys. On to the second to last stack. We're getting there, we're getting there. We have a game called Driver, which was actually pretty good. As you can tell, it's edgy because the E in Driver is a 3. That's how you know. That's how you know it's edgy. But this game was actually pretty good. It wasn't bad, in my opinion at least. It was solid. Then we have Ghost Recon 2. I remember a lot of people really liked this game. Again, you can tell it's not from around here. Which is fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind that whatsoever. Pretty fun game. Then we have Oddworld. I really liked the Oddworld games, and Munch's Odyssey is not an exception. I think it's fantastic. A ton of fun. Oh, here's that Halo 2. There you go. There's the Halo 2. I keep bumping my camera because I'm stupid. I'm sorry for that. Then we have one of the worst games ever made, Aquaman. Never played it. I have no intent on playing it. It's just a terrible game. Then we have a Wii game thrown in, I guess. It is Wii Play. I think everybody who had a Wii had some form of Wii Sport, Wii Play, Wii something. Then there's Men of Valor. I'm going to try my best to scoot through the rest of these games just so we can have a rather, a not so long game, if you will, or video. Alright, last stack. I do have the console and the hookups and whatnot over there. I had tested all the games, so I'm not going to show that in the video. Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit 2. Need for Speed games are really arcadey, but that's kind of why they're fun. Marvel Ultimate... Oh my gosh, I'm actually the worst. My apologies. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It's pretty good. Pretty good fighting game. It's decent. Legacy of Kain. I really enjoyed this game. Thought this was a fun game. Really fun game. Then we have... Whoa. Apparently this... Oh, the one below it is sticky. Van Helsing, which is actually... it's okay. Then we have this... Oh yeah, that's the sticky game because of this. House of the Dead 3, which is what they use the light gun for, apparently. Pretty fun game. Don't really know too much about it, but I have played it before, so it's decent. Your obligatory sports game, of course. At least it's footy. Nicktoons Unite for the GameCube. Alright. If I remember right, this one, has the bonus, which is the stinking sequel to it. There's the Unite, and then there's Volcano Island, which was the sequel to it. So 2 for 1, I guess. Fine by me. Then there's Street Hoops. Oh yeah. Fantastic. I'm going to play the heck out of that for the PlayStation 2. And that's all the games we got, thankfully. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you see anything that, gives you any sort of remembrance or anything like that, leave me a comment. Let me know. Let me know something that I don't know. I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you in the next episode, everybody.